Welcome back to Haze. So that
This game is still going.
I know, right?
Again, this was the period. This was the time my controller still was
Escort
glitching.
Escort Mega Man Legends for the bridge.
Oh my!
I don't.
Oh my god! Wait!
MML?
Wait! Why was that pickup truck floating above the ground?
It just
for a
fall,
bit
and
there?
let's move on, please.
Again,
Again, this is the game. This is kind of the last portion of the game, and it goes apparent that the game is whatever minor steam the game had, it's losing it very fast because nothing happens. The dialogue is non-existent. You just have to run through this very long mountain track until the game decides to, oh yeah, you had a destination, you arrived.
Quick question to you.
Yes, sir.
Is this music the remix of the Fantasia theme song?
No, it's still part of the Velocity. I just, segmented into one in the previous part and one in here.
Well, okay. To answer your question, Jed, yes, this is a remix of Night on Bald Mountain. However, this is from the soundtrack of Crash Tag Team Racing. When does this play? This plays in E-Velocity when you're in last place phase. Basically, what Crash Tag Team Racing does is essentially it plays a typical theme during a race for the first 2 laps. But on the last lap, depending on where you are place-wise, you'll either hear a more upbeat tune or a more, downer tune, like a downer tune for if you're in last place or something, and a more upbeat tune for if you're in first place. It's actually a pretty creative thing to do with the soundtrack.
Shit mortars.
And you know what? Talking about Crash Tag Team Racing gives me more joy than anything in this game. That's how low we've gotten.
Like I said, at least with Merino, you were talking with him, you could tell weird shit. But now that basically you have to do this kind of thing on your own with generic NPCs, with these generic terrorist NPCs who always repeat the same 3 and 4 lines.
I'm sorry,
if only you could clash with, you could actually clash with your vehicles.
That would make this game
cooler.
That
would break the game in half. But
I can tell you this, you can, but the physics in the game are rigged, so it's the least satisfying thing ever. So it's not really worth it.
Wait, how do you clash vehicles together in this game?
Well, the guy's going through your direction, you go through the other. Simple as that.
There's a difference between clash and bash, or crash.
So is his name Crash Man or Clash Man? We'll never know.
Anyway,
yeah. Actually, I'm surprised that considering the sense of humor that Radical were going for in those games, I'm surprised they didn't make a Crash Man or something. There's like some lame TV superhero that Crash loves to watch on TV.
No, that's wonky.
Yes, Joseph?
So, are we in a Gary's Mod project? Because that's what this feels like.
This is supposed to be a planetarium, a science museum. Never mind the fact that, again, this is supposed to be, a generic South American country riddled with poverty, meaning that a museum like this should not exist by simply the fact that the government will be too oppressive or something.
Well, I mean, it's not exactly in a good state right about now.
True, but that's because of ravaging of the war. Remember, they mentioned that the war has been going on for quite a bit, so...
It doesn't even look like that much of a planetarium. And yes, I know, it looks wrecked and everything, but it looks it could really
there's the giant, you're not seeing right now, but there's the giant, model in the center, and occasionally you also get, a pop-up of notification telling you about the wonders of space. I don't even get why they decided to, have this kind of planetarium here.
Wow.
It feels just there because...
So, a billionaire company and their armor is freaking useless.
Yep, just like any good Star Trooper clone, I guess.
I guess.
Oh my god, his corpse is floating in midair.
Yeah, again, at this point, I'm just fuck
it's floating in midair.
How do they do that?
Float.
Okay, the only way this would be acceptable is if they were in space, but they're not.
Sadly, no. This game doesn't even know. Again, there's also the thing. This game, even when it tries to be awesome, it doesn't even scratches that. Even the set pieces that it has, while having some minor good idea, so they just don't really work. because again,
Also-
everything else just clashes against it. Yes, Jova?
Once again, the lighting is terrible in this place. Like, Jesus, something
Even the
so
color
bright.
palette, everything is brown and gray.
The darkness
Well, as you
doesn't
see,
work.
Gio, in war, everything is brown.
Okay, okay. Okay, let me.
But it's the thing. Hold on, that's the thing. The bright yellow armor of Mantel soldiers actually is a good point of differentiation. You know, it gives an actual, standing out with the color palette. The problem is that, for example, the terrorist faction conversely doesn't really have anything to contrast. Like again, one thing that you think for multiplayer purposes is red versus blue from from Halo. Go on.
It also has to do with the bad art direction. That's the primary problem, because one of the things that people tend to think is that it's just a matter of the graphics style, not necessarily just the graphics style. Every art direction, regardless of which one you prefer personally, can be good and look good if it appeal obviously if people would prefer an art direction with another type of art direction because taste and shit. But I will still argue that the original Gears of War trilogy pulled off this kind of aesthetic really well. Those games look good. Yeah, obviously that look is not for everybody, but with good art direction, you can make a gritty war-filled world look at the very least, engaging on a certain. Obviously, if you prefer colorful games,
I also honestly think that even the original trilogy still had, a more idea of a color palette. Sure, maybe not like super bright and colorful, but at least you had your reds, your green, and your blue here and there. The most variation that this game has is yellow. And that's it.
Yeah, especially Free. Free was the one that Free, and by extension, One Ultimate. Since One Ultimate adopted the same style as Free. Free was the one where they really.
Give me a second. My God, will you shut up already? Jova, can you have to imagine? Imagine me having to speedrun this fucking shit and having at this point hearing the same stock phrases I've been heard for 4 hours. It makes you fucking insane.
Trust me, Tio. I get exactly what you're talking about. I had to suffer that in Transformers: Rise of a Dark Spark.
Is that how people who play Shadow of the Hedgehog feel when Eggman says, what they say, the more the merrier?
No, Teo, no. The primary source of suffering for Shadow the Hedgehog is the artificial chaos mission.
Okay, Tio. Here's the thing about when Eggman spam quotes. That is actually considered awesome because those lines are very cool and memorable, and the voice acting, at least there, is... How did he even walk on that? Whatever. The voice acting there is at least pretty good, and it's funny, at least. Here, the lines aren't funny, they aren't iconic, they're not memorable. They will be memorable, but only because they literally force it into your brain like a pencil being lodged in there.
And it's not even a funny joke like in The Dark Knight.
It's,
Jesus.
I mean, seriously, at least, with that comparison, the Dark Knight at least has, interesting stuff going on.
I was more referring to the pen joke, but see, like for example here, this set piece had you having to blow an antenna to use it as a bridge. It's a cool idea on paper, but it's just so underwhelming.
Oh God, the blackness, Jesus!
The primary.
Go ahead, Pedro, sorry.
we are in a place with no light.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to agree with Jova. Like the primary.
Okay. There's a difference between being shrouded in darkness and then just lazily putting black spots that we couldn't be bothered to light properly. Guess which one this is?
Isn't that darkness?
No.
There are actually ways to make very dark area, even places where you cannot see shit, actually still function rather than just shutting down everything completely.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who's taken game programming classes, I can tell you that there's definitely supposed to be an art to how you handle darkness here and there. It should never be in a way where the player literally can't see, because that's just unfair. I mean, unless you make a good gameplay mechanic around it, like, Lost Colony or Fumbling in the Dark here and there.
Or you could end up like that. You could end up like that game in Action 52.
Yeah, basically, so here's the thing. Usually, you should have some shrouds of light showing off here.
Hello.
You can't have something be pure black because, well, there's no such thing as pure black here and there, essentially. There should always be some form of light to reflect here and there, as other bouts of media have pointed out here and there. So when you literally have a spot that looks like it's shrouded into a black hole or whatnot, you've got a problem.
Look,
Oh
they're
my
just
God.
really big fans of Ansem the Watt. Ansem Secret of Darkness.
Yeah. It's like I mentioned earlier that,
why is my
that
weapon
Action
clipping?
52 game, lights out where you only get like 2 seconds of light before it goes dark again.
Wow,
Yeah.
look at the vast
But-
landscape where there's literally nothing aside from Vaseline.
Oh God! Look at how bright that light is, and not in a good way. Again, that's the thing
Again,
about this
again,
game's
this
lighting
game looks
system.
like it's using the lighting engine from Deadly Premonition 1, it seems.
Like, that's the thing, though. I mean, okay. It's either, Jesus Christ, it's way too bright, so I can't differentiate anything, or it's, Jesus Christ, it's way too dark, learn some lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is stuff that I learned in game programming classes in college.
And again, the fucking Vaseline on everything. This is a thing that a lot of games on the PS3 long to have. It was just a trend at the time, but it looks awful.
Hell, Top Gear actually did a joke on using Vaseline effects. Where one of the presenters, to try and show off a stunt, put Vaseline on the lens so that he think it look cool, but he got no points because they couldn't see it.
But no, Teo, Joe was right. Like most of the time, Eggman repeating quotes tend to really become really cool and memorable because Dean Bristow and Mike Pollock are just that good at doing them.
Yeah.
The only real exceptions that I can think of in particular are in Sonic 06, where most of the lines, his lines in the Wyvern thing is mostly rehashed from.
I mean, there are a couple of lines I like. Wouldn't the door have been easy?
Well, that's the cutscene stuff.
definitely.
I'm talking about in-game quotes, during boss battles and stuff. Because those are the ones that you hear over and over.
Okay, let me use another example. Like Navi always say the classic Navi, hey, listen thing.
Oh no, I hate Navi. Like.
Okay.
Navi
For
is
as annoying as that is, okay. For as annoying as that can be, it's not purely bad like this. It's meme-worthy, essentially.
She's better than Fi.
Also, Dej, you hate Tinkerbell, but you like Navi.
You see, here's the thing. Navi's not trying to kill me.
Wait,
Are you sure?
Remember, it was connecting to what he said in our Peter Pan 2003 commentary.
Oh yeah, sure. I forgot about that.
Because she keeps trying to kill Wendy.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, that's how it is in the original fairy tale.
Yeah, she's a dick. Navi's just trying to help Link.
But yeah. No. Yeah, no, exactly like that. No.
Also, guys, look
to
at
be
how
honest, I
German-
remember.
This set pieces is annoying. Again, you're literally David Caged inside these cabin until you arrive to the destination.
To be honest, I prefer that one tiny, insignificant scene Tinkerbell has in Pan more than the one in the 2003 film.
Anyway, what I wanted to point out was how, our allies, they're literally standing completely frozen until the next
Yes,
set
and
piece.
also Jova, they were also silent, so it was actually a good change of pace for me.
Yeah.
So you're actually quiet for a bit.
Let me point. Let me point out the thing. Honestly, when it comes to these things, I think it's two things. One,
What? Wait, what? You fell right through the stairs? What?
And
Sorry.
those were broken. I wasn't supposed to go there. Go ahead, Pedro.
Come on, Pedro.
I honestly think it's two situations when it comes to the whole art direction thing. It boils down to this. One, people wanted to copy the success of Gears of War. The problem is that, again, it happens a lot of times in media, the people who try to make these copies don't understand what made people like Gears of War in the first place, and how that there was a nuance to the way those games looked compared to something like how this game looks. They copy the visuals of that game on a superficial way, and don't really bother to take a deeper look at how the artists at Epic Games at the time really did make those games look.
Well, I get the idea with these. Sorry, go on.
Especially because, again, remember, that was Epic Games, and they were being pressured by the higher-ups to make a really good-looking game to showcase what the Unreal Engine 3 could do, you know? So, of course, they were going to, you know, take some good amount of time to make sure the game doesn't look like an ugly piece of crap like this one.
I argue that this one, you know, wants to ape up instead Call of Duty rather than Gears.
Sure.
Inversion instead it tries to be a carbon copy of Gears.
Honestly, I don't think it even pulled that off very well.
Well, yeah, it was just, you know, not specifying it.
And again, guys, reminder, in spite of it supposedly being the Halo killer.
Ubisoft is not even specialized in major shooters. Even the Tom Clancy stuff is more like either stealth or, you know, team-based capture point rather than actually being proper type of shooters. So at least around this time. So I had no idea why we wanted to have their own Call of Duty.
All right, so here's my take on Ubisoft. They seem to be that company that just exists. I don't know anyone who really cares about any of their games at all.
I used to. A lot, actually.
That's the thing, Deji. People used to. I mean, Ubisoft were at some point one of the big titans of gaming with a lot of their great stuff that they brought in. Assassin's Creed was a house.
Actually, let me put it this way. Ever since the start of 8th Gen, they just really did feel like that company.
Okay, that I can understand, but mostly because we started essentially rejecting whatever actually had them actually arriving to that position. Rayman was fucking dead. Prince of Persia was
out of existence. Did it just pop out of existence?
Yeah, it did. Prince of Persia was fucking dead. You know, Beyond Good and Evil was not getting its sequel because, you know, of obvious reasons.
Oh look, nothing's changed.
Yeah. Well, technically speaking, we're still getting it. It's just that, you know, at this point, I'm not even sure if I still want it.
I'm starting to feel the same way about Skull and Bones, man.
But at least that's an original IP, not, you know, a promised sequel to an already existing property.
Well, sort of a spin-off.
Oh my god, it was floating. Both corpses were floating.
Not only that, there was that corpse that you left that was melting into the stairs. This game is falling apart.
I don't know anyone.
As much as I hated the rabbits with a passion, I had to admit that Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle was actually, you know, pretty decent as an XCOM clone. So
and
there
it's
was
probably
that.
Their most original game in years.
Oh yeah,
much.
Starlink. And basically the thing Starlink's remembered for is being the best Star Fox game we've gotten for quite some time.
And I don't know anyone who's played Immortal Phoenix Horizon.
I mean, I've heard good things about that game, but I am in no hurry to buy it to support Ubisoft. If it turns out to be good, I'll get to it eventually, but it's not at the top of my list.
Alright, now you have finally reached the observatory. What you're supposed to do now is to find, if I correctly, 2 cells and, like, destroy them in order to actually block the AI system that allows the nectar transmission into the armors, meaning that you effectively shut down most of Mantel's forces.
I can't help but wonder, is the draw distance literally tied into the lighting? Because it feels like sometimes when you...
I think it's more tied to the Vaseline thing, because Vaseline is usually used to cover up JPEG artifacts from a distance.
That would explain a lot. But yeah, that's the thing about Ubisoft. It's the sad thing about them is like, well, it seemed like they were finally getting back up on the horse starting in 2017.
I also can tell you this, that there was a game in 2011 that they actually published. I don't know how much control they had over it, but they actually published, and as far as I know, they are still owning about it. They actually genuinely really like, and it's the one that I scheduled for us doing without Cheery after this. So there is also that. It's done by... Sorry, it was done by Housemark, the guys who are currently make
Returnal. They made Resogun.
Returnal.
Which is one of the more popular
One thing,
of the arcade type games on the PS4. Go ahead.
You know, on the subject of publishing, since there's not much interesting going on screen at the minute, although feel free to interrupt me when something does happen. I'm wondering how that new Hitman game is going to turn out, since that's a self-publishing AAA game.
I mean,
Hopefully,
it pretty much showcases that in terms of budget, quality derived from the budget seems to be pretty much more of the same. So that I can't see shit. That in itself, it should not be a problem, Lives. Again,
Because one thing I'm wondering is that it's probably going to take years, if not decades.
sometimes it's also.
But if Hitman turns out successful and we start seeing other big IPs start to achieve that trend as well, I wonder if at this point we'll even need groups like Activision anymore.
Wait, okay. I mean, the scummy company behavior aside, that alone is something that I will not like 100%. Because again, the idea of having a company essentially acting as a big family with a range of IPs that are so different to each other, constructing, having like a set of different things under your belt that you can cherish it and potentially, cross-move into each other is also honestly a neat idea. And the idea of, things detaching from that on a constant basis feels kind of a waste. There we go. And by doing this, I think we're about to detach all the there you go. We detach all the administration system.
Honestly, at this point,
time to see the consequences of Mantel Soldier. It will still attack you, but basically right now we're kind of in a frenzy state.
you mentioned Ubisoft in 2017, Jova. Honestly, at this point, I don't even understand why they even bothered to announce Beyond Good and Evil 2. because literally at this point probably literally is enough never even gonna come of it at this point. Like Ubisoft doesn't talk about it, they don't even acknowledge it. Like
well, I mean considering all the allegations going on at the minute.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, oh, yes. Hello.
I think I did something bad.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, that sums up the game.
Remember, these guys were junkies and we just removed their doses.
Bad. I did something
Oh,
bad.
Hold
so
on. Pay attention to the sound effect that's gonna happen in a second.
I threw her in the fire. I threw her in the fire.
yes,
I
you
something
did.
bad.
Oh no!
what?
The sound effect
He
did not,
just shot himself in the head. Oh, wait,
the sound
George
effect
Miller?
did not match at all, and the blood spurt was so generic. This
Wait,
no,
George Miller.
Yes, George Miller is in this game. And oh my god! They just killed George Miller, Dwims! They just killed George Miller!
no more episodes of gaming in the Clinton years. How sad.
That's George Wood.
That's George
Oh.
Wood.
I think-
My bad.
If he, Mad Max would be a better thing.
What the
I got
fuck?
Yes, Dedge.
What?
Exactly.
What?
What was that?
I think you're behind, but the party's almost over anyway.
I think you're behind
That
us.
was the basically, that was the game trying to be dead serious and hoping you would take that seriously.
The only soldiers who are not affected by the Mantel effect are the Black Ops unit, the one that attacked you before in the warehouse. But
the acting
again,
was terrible.
yeah, that too.
You seem-
But
No,
those
wait,
would be
what,
the
you're on 23-22, right? And counting?
a couple of seconds ahead, but don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, because I was just dumbfounded about the George Miller thing. I'm like,
Also to answer what you were saying before, the other two games done with the UbiArt engine that we have covered, Child of Light and Valiant Hearts, I also argue that they were also, good games done in that time period. It's just that, once again, Ubisoft has a perfectly good engine for 2D looking games and it's sitting its ass on it, doing nothing with it.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, that's right. Wasn't there supposedly a Child Light 2 in development or something?
Yeah, the creator tweeted about it, but that's the thing, Joe. It was a while ago. For all we know, maybe since then Ubisoft shut down that.
maybe that child won't see light anymore.
Well,
Very funny.
Anyway, Pedro, given what you were talking about with Beyond Good and Evil 2, yeah, I'd like to ask the same thing about Skull and Bones, that very promising game that was supposed to come out in 2018, but then it got pushed back to 2019, and now I don't think we really heard much of, like, I don't get it. Ubisoft really felt like they were getting things fixed with 2017.
Honestly,
What
knowing
went
Ubisoft, it probably would have ended up a prettier Sea of Thieves anyway. So.
That's a shame.
Probably would have been a game.
Well, probably. I mean, Ubisoft is all into games as a service nowadays.
Why is it so hard for me to get a good pirate game these days?
They even had, you know, like for a while ago, they also, when they talked about Splinter Cell, they talked, if they were gonna make a new Splinter Cell, they were talking about games as a service features, you know. So
I am sadly not surprised. Ubisoft tend to be people who do jump on terrible bandwagons.
And they're always late to the punch, and it always blows up in their face. See Starlink.
I know, right? I mean, seriously, there's a reason that CD Projekt Red replaced them on the financial listing, and that's probably going to change soon too, given recent events. But still, man, Ubisoft.
Okay, can I finally finish the level now?
You're gonna die, right? Aren't you?
No, thank God, no.
And then the helicopter explodes.
Levine!
And for some reason it somehow counts as a game over.
Oh,
Well-
thank fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're about to get back to Merino, which is gonna give us a speech before the final battle.
It
Yes,
looks-
really.
Oh, great. Great. Of all these
Hey,
poorly
Debs.
acted speeches.
Hey, Dibs, I just noticed he looks like David James.
Oh my god.
I don't even-
What is with this
I know it's a totally random reference that I'm making, but still.
So after he retired from football, he did this.
Hello. Please don't eat me.
I've heard of worse things to get a paycheck for, though I'll be quite honest, this is pretty bad.
You know, Jebs, I'll just mention what the narrator from On Goals and Gaffs said. When I look at David James, why do I suddenly feel like having a hot dog smothered in mustard? So, seriously, that hair.
Alright, now we're about to reach Merino, and we're gonna get essentially a very prolonged cutscene with him giving his rousing speech before the final battle. So enjoy.
Oh. Could they at least give us some bombastic music or some good camera framing to help this speech?
No,
or are
remember,
we-
it's all in first person.
Yeah, for immersion.
So once the tall vampire lady gonna show up?
Which thing are you referencing?
Lady Dimitrescu.
Resident Evil 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Father, what was war? But while we are an army, that cannot happen.
Yeah, nod your head to him.
I'm not
Hey, oh
gonna
my
lie,
God,
guys. This
guys,
speech is so generic.
guys,
This
I just
acting's so
realized-
terrible he can't even pull off.
Remember, same guy as
Also, guys-
same voice actor as the narrator in Kirby's Epic Yarn.
We will fight.
Also, guys, just want to point out the two NPCs in front of us are literally clones of each other.
We can be an
Yeah.
Maybe they're twins.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
The Halo Killer! Like,
Also,
okay,
I love,
look, if you
I love
wanna-
how it sounds like there's a load of people there, even though there's only.
There
those
are
two
some more
guys.
behind us. We saw we are arriving.
We just can't
Okay,
show
yeah.
them because we.
Look, okay, here's the thing, Ubisoft. You want to be a Halo Killer, you also
Oh
need
no,
to frame
a bit
it
of
to
morality,
the
a bit of morality ambiguity.
Yes, they are weak.
Yes, vengeance.
My army is ready. You're off.
Yeah, that's the thing. Apparently soldiers wouldn't have attacked without the nectar. Which makes me wonder, what did these guys think they were signing up for when they applied for this super evil
Wow.
company?
Wow, you're a nice guy, Marino.
Listen to me. I have told you only one of many hunters of a story.
So, what was stopping him from just rescuing any other Haze member who hadn't been taking much of his nectar?
Again, there's also the fact that, well, apparently he did to someone else too, but he just not told. But again, there's also play the fact like our protagonist is super important. He had to save him for a very specific reason, but not really. Like at the end of the day, sure, Carpenter did manage to figure out a couple of things, but it wasn't pivotal in for the revolution. Regiment did also help, and did most of the work anyway.
Oh
So
God, the shadows are clipping in and out.
at this point, Joe, I'm not caring anymore. I just want the game to end.
Oh, so you're like me with Blue
Well,
Dragon
yeah,
at this
okay.
point.
Again, I thought it wouldn't have happened, but first time I don't even remember if it's the first time, but it's usually a very rare case anyway. But this time, succeed. What the fuck, man?
What was Marino even doing there?
Why?
Because it's there. Because it's there. I don't know.
Oh God, I mean,
Tia, do you need a drink?
I wish. No, unfortunately no. But anyway, yes, the climax is gonna have us, jumping on that thing that we were on the beginning, the land carrier. And apparently, according to data mining, the climax instead was supposed to be assaulting, an actual carrier on water, because you can also still see actual boats on it that you were supposed to use to actually reach. The actual carrier. But apparently, for some reason, it was reworked into this weird monstrosity that we're going to see in the next part of this Mad Max-style giant vehicle. But again, see you next time for the epic conclusion of this unforgettable jam. See ya.
See ya.
see you then.
See ya.